Welcome, this is Brian Gibbons, and we're talking about the letter of intent to lease real estate. This is so important. This helps us get a legal right to be able to work with the property, work with the seller, be able to show the property, be able to assign our agreement. But before we do a thing, we need a letter of intent to lease real estate done. Now, if you're one of my students, it's really important to understand that this is the beginning of the deal. We never get involved with a property without an LOI or letter of intent. So let's get started. You ready? So letter of intent to lease real estate and notice of intent to enter into a rental agreement and option to purchase agreement on the real property known as, and then we would write the street address right here. So to property owner, please be advised that the undersigned is interested in entering into a rental agreement and an option to purchase agreement. Please be advised that I am a real estate investor that intends to enter into agreements contemplated for the purpose of investing in real estate as a going business concern. I now provide you with this letter of intent. So it's a letter. It's not binding, okay? This letter is intended to summarize in the separately numbered paragraphs below the terms in which I desire to lease your property located at, and then we would put in the property address there, and that's known as the property. For purposes of identification, you want to be able to handwrite in the husband and wife's name in there, and we would delete that, whoever's on the deed. Now, it may not be the husband and wife that's on the deed. It might be somebody else. It might be the wife and the mother of the wife. So we want to know who's on the deed. And this shall be referred to as the landlord. Now, the name of this company is My Company Innovative Property Group, LLC. And that's going to be referred to as the tenant. Now, don't be confused here. We are going to lease in our company name and option with our company name to the seller. And once we have that, then we're going to do something else. We're going to sell our agreement or assign our agreement. So the next one is a property to be rented, shall rent all of landlord's interest in the property located, and then we will put in the address again here. The terms of which may be more fully stated in the final rental agreement approved and signed by all parties. Rental agreement. Okay. Now, the term. What's the term? How long? That's the term. The tenant or its assigns. This is so important. It's not us. We're going to assign the deal. So tenant and or assigns are going to rent the property for a term of, and how many years? I generally put in 2 here. The rental rate, how much? The tenant and or its assigned shall pay the amount of how much per month. That's easy. Security deposit, sometimes we'll put in 0 in here. Sometimes we'll put in 1 month's rent in here. The possession date, landlord shall give possession to the tenant or its assigns upon commencement of the rental agreement. So when the rental agreement starts, that's when the possession date is. Now, do you notice these initials at the bottom? I always initial every single one of those first one. And then the seller is going to initial that one and that one. And then the new tenant buyer is going to initial that one and that one. So everybody has seen this paperwork. Here's the option information. Landlord shall grant to the tenant and or its assigned, so that's going to be our company, an option to purchase the property for an estimated price of, and we're going to put in a price in here. Okay, that's the option price. If this space is blank, then the parties agree that the option price shall be agreed upon in the final option of purchase agreement. Let's say that we want to have the exercise price as new appraisal. Well, I would leave this blank and we'll have the attorney handle that. But the option price will be at new appraisal. Option money, tenant and or its assigned shall pay the landlord a non-refundable amount. Now this is generally 3% of the purchase price. If it's $200,000, it'd be $6,000 in here. which shall be first be applied to any assignment fee that the tenant may be entitled to through its assignment of its interest to any third-party assignee, with the balance being applied as a credit to the option price. The application of the option money will be more fully defined in the option to purchase agreement, and that's what our attorney goes over with the seller. Let's go through number 8. Representations, warranties, covenants, and indemnification. The formal agreements including, but not limited to, a rental agreement and option to purchase agreement that the parties will execute shall include a number of representations, warranties, covenants, and provisions for indemnification. It means getting out of trouble, not being sued. The representations and warranties shall include, but not be limited to, matters of title, authority, liabilities, and compliance with laws, payments of taxes, finances, conditions of the property, rights to assignment, and rights to either party's right to terminate the agreement. So that paragraph is kind of getting people out of trouble. Legal effect, that's just a legal paragraph. Within the letter is intended a mere expression of intent and not binding. And the parties hereto, on the behalf of themselves and their agents, agree that they will keep the contents of this letter and all matters pertaining to negotiations of the subject transaction. They will not disclose any such matters to any third party, except their respective agents and financial institutions on a need-to-know basis. Now, this number 10 is important. Notice of intent to assign. The tenant hereby discloses and the landlord hereby understands and acknowledges that the tenant intends to assign its interest to this letter of intent in any of the agreements that may result herefrom to a third-party assignee. That lets the seller know that we're assigning this agreement for a fee. The tenant shall have the absolute right but not the obligation to assign its interest in this agreement or any subsequent agreements between the landlord and tenant. It is agreed that the tenant shall have the right to receive a reasonable fee for its assignment, which shall be paid from the option money as stated above. Now here's how long it takes. The option period. The tenant and the landlord hereby agree that the tenant shall have 45 days to exercise their option or assign it to a third party. Now, that's it. That's the end of it, after 11. If the landlord is interested in pursuing a transaction consistent with these terms, the landlord may accept this offer by returning the undersigned either 1. A copy of this letter enclosed, executed in the place indicated by them, or 2. You can fax it to us. So that's it. And there's my name, and the tenant here is going to be us. So we're going to date this and sign it. All right. And if you're my student, you're going to date it and sign it. Okay. Landlord, they're going to sign this one and date it. And that's the seller. And all these initials, I sign this one as an LLC member. Seller signs this one, and the new buyer that we assign it to is in this one. If you're the student, you don't sign any of these. Okay? So that's the letter of intent. It's not that hard, but it works. Thanks for listening. I hope you can always refer to this training at a later date. This is Brian Gibbons, hoping you will do super well in your lease assignment business. Bye for now.